Okay, so what I want to show you is what we're working on today. The first part of this is if you go into YouTube, and it's probably either in the channel or the chat. You go into YouTube, there is and I'm in the way. There's a link to the rendering part of this for your cartography. Dr. Vitti sent out an email the other day about what that the semester has been extended for a couple of days. So we have a couple of days after we get back to make sure everything's straight. This cartography assignment will probably be carried over to next semester, but we'll figure it out. In any case, you have some time, but we need to keep going through and looking at this. One of the things that we were talking about in this video that we had in cartography was that you can go over your drawings several times in order to like mine to make sure that you have the proper saturation and everything else. So if we look at this one that's in here, this rendering cartography, I'm wondering if I can do that. Yeah. So one of the things that I want you to realize is that I am going over this several times. And if we watch just, I think this is time lapse. So watching this and working through this, we realize that there are like multiple times that I go over all of this stuff in order to make sure that I have the proper saturation, and two, for that cross hatching part that we were talking about. So inside of this video, when you watch this whole thing, I did time lapse most of it. You can go through and you can see that I go over several of my areas multiple times, and it's not really done until probably somebody takes it away from me half the time. So if we're looking at this and we're watching what's going on, this video inside of there, and I'll put the link in the chat, or actually it's in the class channel already. So you can watch this video and see if anything makes sense to you. But the cartography, we're going to work on a little bit more and get this together. And then I think we're going to do a mural in the one that's in the commons with a map of around the school in the area. So look forward to that. So we're doing that. The other thing that you need to be working on are your portfolios, which these were your finals. So this is something that's going to count like as a full grade. And inside of the Google Photos, inside your Google Photos, you were meant to set up two different albums. The first album was your semester one album, which should have all of the assignments from your teams, all of the finals that you turned in. And then you should have a growth folder. And your growth folder is if somebody looked at you and they wanted to say, okay, so what did you learn? This should be pictures that come from your private chats that we did every day. And it should be the pictures that describe the process that it took to get to where you're at right now. All right. So with this particular one, and actually I just made it a little bit smaller to see it. This particular one, we added text on this, and I put in demonstrating growth. We added text in this part. Those were the cut paper letter progress. And what started off with is it's the first assignment, which was at 2 or 3 A's, and your name went that way, right? So the other thing we need to do is we also need to make sure that these pictures are displayed well. So we're going to go into this spot up here in the top right hand corner. That's the edit. I can do this. If I tap on edit, it offers me the opportunity to do things like crop and turn and things like that. So with this picture, I would probably go through and crop it so that it is as much of what I would like it to be, which is just the A's, right? So I can crop this all out, and I can make sure my pictures are facing the right direction. So this is her A, and then in comparison to my A. So this might have been one of the first tests that we took and not actually her 3 A's. So we're going to click done on that one, and now I have it edited. Now the other thing And it doesn't matter so much with the letters as much as it does with other things, but we would like the paper to be white, especially with something that we're working on. I usually tend to not try and screw with color too much because it's not your actual piece then, and it becomes computer art. But if we're doing this, I can go through and do that. Remember when we were talking about the saturation on your cartography, this is a saturation button. And if you watch what happens when I adjust this slider, it makes all the colors way more vibrant. So that's where we were talking about saturation, and that is a physical demonstration of saturation. So if we go back into my album, I'm going to start to have all of these pictures all cropped up and ready to go and looking like works of art. So that's another thing we want to do. I also went through and added some pictures from someone else's cartography assignment where she started like this, and you can even see the progression of what she's done here. This one, she thought she was finished, which is a lot of what I'm getting is kind of this kind of quality of rendering, but she went back through and did it again. And this was the second round through. And then she was going through a third time in order to do that. Because like I said, as far as the rendering goes, if you step back for a second and go back to it, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get some really, it's going to improve your work. So again, this is a very good growth folder right now, or a very good growth project, because it shows her starting off and figuring out what it was she wanted to do and getting everything straight. And I believe that this is a map of a store, which I think is kind of fascinating. It's awesome. The other one was the end of the semester and what you had done for your semester. So if we go into this, the semester portfolio should highlight everything that is complete from your semester. And I don't know who has a good one of those. But if we go through, and again, it should be named properly. So we have Jalen Hill, 3rd hour, semester 1. So if I go through and I look at Jalen's work, not bad. But we do want to go through and crop it, because like these pictures right here, let's say, that this could be cropped. Okay, so go through, crop it. It looks like the lighting, it still looks like great pictures, and we have enough to work with right now. There might be too much in there. Right now, we only need what we have completed to use, okay? So he's got a cross, I think, between his semester folder and his growth folder right now. Let's see if I can find another one. Here's a good one, probably. All right, so with this one, and it's even cropped up pretty well too. So this one, this photo is cropped nicely. It's exactly what we need to have. This one, the lighting's a little bit odd, but she did crop it in order to get it done. And we can work on the lighting with this. I can totally download that, and we can work on the lighting on this. So remind me that we need to do that. This is her social justice poster, and we can still crop the top of this and get everything so that it's just right there. There's that. That's a good one. This looks more like growth information to me than it does. So does that final stuff, like your name is a final. This is the final. That is final. These are all completed work. This is her final. So that's how a final folder should look. It should just have your finished, completed, cropped work in it, right? And I understand that we're still working on getting some pictures together for everything. So if anyone has any questions about your final, you can come off a mute and ask me during class. We can go through your portfolio together and make sure if we are having grading issues, right now is the time inside a class to ask me about this. Come off a mute and we can go through this and figure out what we need to do. If you are watching this video later on, you can chat me, or you can come to class tomorrow and we can figure this out during class. Outside of class hours, it's not necessarily, I'm in meetings right now until about 7 o'clock at night. So I need you all to be proactive about what we have going on and get with me to get your stuff taken care of. But understand that I'm not necessarily going to answer a phone call in after school hours. We have time right after school. We have time during class. You have time during your lunch hour. Chat me and we can figure something out. All right. All right. I am going to put this in the chat. I'm going to get this all straight and you all have a great day. Make sure you put a picture in the class chat at the beginning of the hour and in a private chat after you worked on your for 45 minutes.